Good day, sir. My name is Aileen Joy S from BSTM 1B, and I'm here to discuss a summary of Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. The first cause of failure. Napoleon Hill says that drifting without aim or purpose is the first cause of failure. When we hit a slump or fall into a particular type of depression, this is often from having a lack of purpose and feeling isolated and alone. In addition to this, we are governed by fear and avoid adversity. However, as we've learned from books such as Black Box Thinking, Daring Greatly, and Talent Code, failure is essential. We should never be governed by our mistake because, as Hill says, every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal of greater benefit. Napoleon Hill began by looking at failure and believed that the key to understanding it was talking to successful people. However, he shifted focus and started analyzing unsuccessful people. The idea was to learn about success through failure. We all go through struggles, but Hill explained that failure comes within opportunities. It's up to us to reevaluate our goals and strategies when we fail so that we can improve. Being resilient is all about the power of positive thinking, and so we need to continuously strive towards moving forward. When we hit a slump, it's up to us to change our direction and shift focus. In Hill's own life, he went through the period where he entered into a dark state of paranoia and self-doubt. He was becoming a drifter, which often happens to us when we lose focus and motivation. Drifters have no sense of agency and they live as if on autopilot. Drifters just cruise through life and allow themselves to be heavily influenced by external forces. They don't make decisions or take any risks, hence losing the power to think and act independently. Hill argues that we're encouraged to be drifters from an early age. And in fact, it's the devil who encourages this early on life, where we are introduced to things that make us want to go through life robotically, and we lose the capacity to think for ourselves. Hill critiques the school system and says that it nurtures homogeneous behaviors. Outcomes-based education focuses on learning things off by heart by reciting information. Hill says we need to focus instead of encouraging critical and independent thinking. Parents and educators need to nurture uniqueness and creativity rather than standardized testing and rote learning. Hill also critiques the church for fostering the same sort of homogeneity and suggests that we develop our inner voices and learn to think independently. We're not only corrupted through institutions and indoctrination, we're also corrupted through substances such as alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, and unhealthy food. The second is the hypnotic rhythm. As we know from the power of habit, we're very susceptible to performing both good and bad habits. We often get caught in patterns to create long-term habits based on this. Habitual behavior make us act in hypnotic states where we live life as in on autopilot. Drifting is one of the most dangerous habits we can get into, and he refers to it as hypnotic rhythm. To rid ourselves of being habitual drifters, we need to be more mindful and aware of our action. We need to ask ourselves why we do the things we do, and listen to our internal voices. The good news is the law of hypnotic rhythm can work in our favor if we encourage good habits, and as we know from the creation of habits, we can replace bad habits into positive ones. To become a non-drifter, we need to cultivate an engaged and present mindset. We also need to develop definite plans and goals. Non-drifters have a clear sense of purpose and never blame other people for their lack of success. It's important to be the main character in your own life. and act in a way that celebrates all of your talents and skills. Listen to other self. We often hear voices inside us telling us what we should doing. This is our intuitive self, and it's usually present itself when we are in a slump. During times when we're stagnating, our intuitive voice jumps in and tries to persuade us to change direction. This voice is readily distinguishable from the noise that and chatter in our heads. If it if it's intuitive, we will know. We need to listen and get to know all the voices in our heads and is doing well learn to master the self. The important thing regarding the intuitive voice is identifying when to say yes and when to say no. The story goes that Hill intuition galvanized him into finish his manuscript for his first self-help book. He listened to his intuitive voice and he was told the first step to getting out of his hypnotic rhythm was to finish his manuscript. Once he finished the document, he was able to move on to the next step. He was guided to meet and publisher and was given an advance and published the lesson. The lesson is always to keep moving forward and to faith in our infinite intelligence. If we listen to ourselves, we will learn how to take calculated risks and created a sense of purpose. The devil is the details. Success isn't just about self. We need to do things for other people. It's essential to serve our community and help those who are in need. Hill explains that true fulfillment comes from helping others because happiness isn't a solitary pursuit. Humans are social beings and therefore we find meaning from connection. There are always people who are worse off than ourselves. We need to acknowledge by this shifting focus from our own problems to focusing on others. This shift in focus allow us to have a greater sense of perspective and purpose. We should also consider the average of 5. The average of 5 is the theory introduced by Jim Rohn that states that we are the culmination of the 5 people we spend the most time with. The idea is the people we spend the most time with have the most significant influence on us. So we must choose the people we hang out with very carefully. If we hang out with negative people, we will become more negative. Although this theory is controversial, Hill argues that our first loyalty is with ourselves. Hence, we need to be carefully choose our social circles and spend time with positive people who bring out the best in us. We need to stop associating with people just because we feel a sense of duty and obligation. Instead, we need to foster a relationship with people and encourage us to reach our full potential. He'll provide an exercise where he suggests visualizing our heroes and role-playing conversation with them. We need to ask things like, what would my hero advise to do? What advice would they give me? How would they tackle this situation by doing this? Well, emulate the good habits and qualities that we admire in other people. So, so it relates me because the keep the doors to your mind tightly closed against all the which seeks to limit you in any matter whatsoever. Your other self will not do your work for you. It will only guide you intelligently in achieving for yourself the object of your desire. So, are you one of the drippers? No, because I'm the type of person who wants a permanent. I just want to stay one thing. So, in conclusion, Benjamin Franklin said, those who love life, then do not squander time, for that is that stuff life is made of. Time can be our biggest friend or our biggest foe. We have the choice to use time wisely and grow, or we can squander time and stagnate. What we do with the time we're given is crucial. and the devil often tempts us into drifting and become aimless. One of the critical insights of Outwitting the Devil is that it's okay to be self-serving. We don't have to please everyone, and we are more effective if we put our needs first. By keeping up with our own purpose and values, we're most likely to be in the position to serve and help others. By harnessing the power of positive thinking, we can plan in advance, set clear goals, and develop a deep sense of purpose. We can do this by listening to our in- intuitive voice, relying on our infinite intelligence and avoiding the temptation of act impulsive. Finally, to outwit the devil, we need to live a conscious and disciplined life and realize that we're the ones who can alter the course of destiny.